Welcome to the second episode of Lyrically Speaking,
where we dissect songs and discover implied inferences made by artists, singers, and songwriters.
I do, don't you? Then all of a sudden, you're sick to your stomach. Is that still true?
We are your hosts,
Dyuti Agarwal,
and Kesar Behal, deep diving into not just one, but two mirroring songs, and an artist who has inspired us with her journey.
Her career began online, sharing snippets of her original songs and covers. In 2019, she signed with a major record label and released her debut single, Mean It. This was followed by a string of successful EPs, including Minor, with hits like 21 and I Miss You, I'm Sorry.
Her emotionally charged lyrics and relatable songwriting gained her a loyal fanbase. In 2023, she released her debut album, Good Riddance, to critical acclaim and even scored a Grammy nomination for Best New Artist.
And personally, I find her the perfect muse to get inspired from, starting a musical career from the trenches and bringing it all the way to opening for Taylor Swift.
Gracie Abrams, the 24-year-old American singer-songwriter, never fails to stun her audience. Like the lyrical mastermind that she is, with her ethereal touch, she manages to encapsulate emotions crisply into her songs.
Which is why, in our second episode, we'll be analyzing two of her songs, I Miss You, I'm Sorry, and I Love You, I'm Sorry.
Let's start with I Miss You, I'm Sorry. So the song opens with a reminiscing tone as Abrams invites her listeners into a past filled with happiness. So the lyrics are, do you remember happy together? I do, don't you? What do you think about this, Dyuti?
So I think Gracie's kind of confronting a past lover. So she's not asking the audience her questions, but she's kind of directing them to this past relationship that she had. And she's kind of recalling the times in her relationship, the happier ones that both of them apparently seem to have forgotten. Continuing. Then all of a sudden you're sick to your stomach. Is that still true?
So I feel like the sudden shift to pain and confusion kind of reflects the unexpected end of a relationship.
Yeah, I feel like her partner most probably abruptly ended their relationship, and she never kind of understood how their feelings could change so quickly. So she probably wonders whether they still feel the same way.
Yeah. So you said forever. In the end, I fought it. Before this line, we're made to believe that the other person abandoned Gracie and their relationship. However, now we're brought to this realization that she actually also had a hand in the relationship ending, and she kind of tried her best to fight against it.
Yeah, and around this line, or even this entire intro, it kind of hits the audience with a particular feeling of mourning, and it showcases the struggle between holding on to promises and facing reality. Continuing the chorus, it continues as, please be honest, are we better for it? So despite being a contributor to the relationship ending, she still has questions about whether it was the right moves. It's kind of like overthinking.
Right.
And the chorus ends with, thought you'd hate me, but instead you called and said, I miss you, I caught it.
Good to each other. Give it the summer. I knew you too. So obviously, the implied meaning is that the relationship was kind of moving in a repetitive cycle of separation and reconciliation, and that they couldn't seem to get over the past, and they kept running back to the feeling in the past.
That makes complete sense. And it could also have a double meaning that she predicted beforehand that the relationship wouldn't last forever or beyond the summer itself. And I knew you too could also mean that they both knew the relationship wouldn't survive. So it's kind of like toxic repetitiveness, perhaps.
For sure, yeah. Okay. You said forever, and I almost bought it. I miss fighting in your old apartment. So, according to an article by oldtimemusic.com, yes, we have our sources, Gracie wrote the song based on personal experiences and past relationships that have ended.
However, don't you think it's true that both her and her previous partner wanted nothing more than to simply reconnect?
Yeah, yeah, I think so.
That could definitely be a possibility, right?
Yeah.
So continuing, breaking dishes when you're
Mhm.
disappointed. I still love you, I promise. Here, implicitly, dishes could also be a metaphor for the heart. So let's put this in a scenario. For
Uh-huh.
example, you throw a plate on the floor. Now, if someone
Yeah.
asks you to apologize to the plate you just threw on the floor, do you think the plate will remain broken or do you think it'll heal? So, as the
Broken.
saying
Yeah,
goes,
for sure.
band-aids don't fix bullet holes. If you
Oh
know,
my god.
could
Yeah.
apply perfectly to this scenario. So, once the heart is broken, countless apologies, or in this case, band-aids, will not fix those permanent cracks. What do you think about the explicit meaning?
That does make sense. Yeah, I feel like explicitly breaking dishes when someone is disappointed could also be sign of abuse in a relationship. So fighting
Hmm,
in your old apartment may also connote and contribute to the notion of an abusive relationship, maybe.
that makes sense.
Every corner of this house is haunted, and I know you said that we're not talking, but I miss you. I'm sorry. So, every corner of this house is haunted may also suggest that a lot of things in her home remind her of the person that she's singing this song about.
Mhm.
So, the spirit of that person kind of continues to live in the house, perhaps engulfing every single corner, every gap, and every crevice.
That's very deep, actually.
Yeah.
And Gracie Abrams also makes another use of this same metaphor in her first album, Good Riddance, which was released in 2023. Only
Mhm.
there she shifts the perspective from her own to the person she's singing about. So the lyrics are just brush me off because I'm your ghost right now. Your house is haunted, which is from track
Ooh.
two called I Know It Won't Work. What do you think?
I feel like these two songs are kind of different points of views, but from the same story. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, we're like
I like that take on
both
it.
people, where both people are going through the same thing about each other, but they're kind of portraying it from different perspectives, from different point of views.
Hmm. Now we transition into the outro.
I don't wanna go, think I'll make it worse. Everything I know brings me back to us. I don't wanna go, we've been here before. Everywhere I go leads me back to you. I don't wanna go, think I'll make it worse. Everything I know brings me back to you. I don't wanna go, we've been here before. Everywhere I go leads me back to you. I don't wanna go, think I'll make it worse. Everything I know brings me back to you. I don't wanna go, we've been here before. Everywhere I go leads me back to you.
Outro continues with the same lyrics. However, the lyrics from the chorus are now playing in the background along with the outro.
Uh,
So, when going through a rough patch that's happened recently, almost everything exists as a form of your past, as if the presence of that thing or that person is haunting you, casting a
yeah,
shadow over everything and everywhere you go. And you're sort of reminded of that person or that thing,
yeah,
everything.
yeah,
Even if it's simply a piece of article or clothing that you had a very significant relationship with.
for sure. Yeah, I feel like seeing something so simple can just make you feel all the emotions once again for that person, or even in general, just having those emotions in you, side by side with the rushing emotions of remorse and depression filling your eyes.
That makes sense. So, like how we've mentioned before, the chorus overlapping with the outro is a form of being able to recall everything that the person did or everything that your past experience was, even if you're just existing, simply existing on a pleasant summer afternoon. And like Kesar mentioned before, it's like the feelings of remorse is flooding your eyes, but at the same time, it can remind you of that person or that experience in your life. It's canceled out by the trenches of sadness when you realize
Yeah.
you're not in that period of your life anymore. So it's kind of
Oh
like the
man, that
two
that
feelings
makes
coexist side by side. And like the famous saying goes, grief and happiness can definitely coexist side by side. And I think this outro or both of these
yeah.
songs in
Yeah.
overall, they represent this statement so perfectly.
Mm-hmm. I feel like the outro ties the whole piece together, right? So it
Yeah.
encapsulates the cyclical nature of reminiscing and the difficulty of letting go. So with the repeated lines, I mean, I feel like Gracie's indicating how every memory and every emotion draws her back to her past love or that simple event that happened, right?
Yeah.
So it kind of symbolizes the haunting nature of unresolved feelings, unrequited love.
Makes sense.
I don't wanna go, think I'll make it worse. Everything I know brings me back to us. I don't wanna go, we've been here before. Everywhere I go leads me back to you.
So, what do you think about the song overall?
Wow. Okay, that's a really good question. I feel like I Miss You, I'm Sorry is a gut wrenching ballad about a rough patch in one's life. So, from what I remember, in the first single off of Gracie Abrams' debut project, Minor, she reminisces about her regrets with her past experiences. Do you want to add something?
Yeah, I think one thing I want to add that's very important and pertaining to what you just said, that's kind of like a pattern I've seen in all of her
Uh
albums
huh.
and songs. Like
Yeah.
even if you look at her current album that just released, The Secret of Us, you can see that there's a lot
Yeah.
of songs that kind of dwell upon past relationships or past experiences. And it's very common in her songs that she's trying to sort through those jumbled emotions that follow her haunting past, including the very, very real temptation of trying to piece something irreplaceably broken back together.
Uh
Uh,
huh.
so, all over, I think Abrams' music style, characterized not just by its intimate, but even confessional tone, allows
Yeah.
listeners, the audience, to connect deeply with the raw emotions conveyed in the song. Even with this song and even with I Love You, I'm Sorry, I think when I first listened to both of these songs, I
Yeah.
felt like a very strong surge of emotion.
Yeah. Can I add something?
Yeah.
I'm not a frequent listener of Gracie Abrams, but I still felt that connection as a listener. I just felt so
Mhm.
heard, I felt seen. And the repetitive cycle kind of, gave me this indication that it's like a never ending thing, something that repeats itself, like history
Yeah.
repeats itself. And then I could relate in some
Ooh,
parts.
I love that take on it. Continuing, I think Gracie's ability to articulate the nuances of heartbreak and the process of healing from experiences that have left you so shattered resonates with
Uh-huh.
anyone who's experienced with the bittersweet journey of letting go, be it
Yeah.
be it an object that you really appreciate as a child or a person
Yeah,
you
for
really,
sure.
yeah, exactly, a person you really, really wanted in your life, with the bittersweet journey of letting go with those people or
Yeah.
and I Miss You, I'm Sorry is not just a lament over a lost relationship, but
Yeah.
it's also simply a testament to the enduring impact of love and the scars it can leave behind.
I love that for sure. Yeah.
2 August ago, I told the truth, oh, but you didn't like it, you went home. You're in your Benz, I'm by the gate. Now you go alone, charm all the people you train for, you mean well but aim low. I'll make it known like I'm getting paid.
Let's continue with I Love You, I'm Sorry. So the title I Love You, I'm Sorry is a play off of Abrams' April single of 2020, I Miss You, I'm Sorry.
Before you continue, can I add something here?
Sure.
So, I think it's very important, and I think the entire point of this episode was
Yeah.
the reason we did two of her songs, and both of them that have a play on each other, is because there's so many paralleling lyrics in both of the
Yeah.
songs. Like when we continue further with the analyzation, I feel like we'll see so many mirroring lyrics and just a sneak peek, but even the outro is so similar to what I Miss You, I'm Sorry
Yeah.
outro was.
Yeah.
And I think that's very significant, not just like to the experience that she had, but even kind of keeping those feelings present in
Okay.
and
Right.
kind of keeping the audience glued to what I Miss You, I'm
Yeah.
Sorry really was. And she's kind of continuing this in her song I Love You, I'm Sorry, which was just released. You can continue.
Sure. So in the song, Abrams explores moments of honesty and regret within a relationship, kind of capturing the emotional weight of navigating challenging situations in love, which is inevitably something that does occur, right?
Mhm.
So the song reflects on the complexities of a past relationship, exploring love, regret, and personal growth after a rough patch. So the chorus, I love you, I'm sorry, the chorus in this song really captures the duality of their relationship.
Mhm. Yeah, the lyrics here paint a bittersweet picture of emotional distance, acceptance of life's ups and downs, and
Uh-huh.
struggle with guilt and the desire for reconciliation. And I think this is perfectly penned down based on what the song talks about. And overall, the
Yeah.
song is remorseful with a satirical take on exploration of the aftermath of a significant patch in your life.
2 Augusts ago. So, in the song Wishful Thinking from her second EP, This Is What It Feels Like, Gracie says, flaked on me back in August. And if I'm honest, you've gotten harder to figure out. So I feel like this lyric could be a reference to that song, an indication of them being in the same situation, you know? So this lyric could be insinuating that the song is kind of set in late summertime.
So I think this song, compared to I Miss You, I'm Sorry, now that we know kind of a part of the story, we have questions
Yeah.
about what she's talking about, basically.
As listeners, for sure, we do have a lot of questions.
Yeah. Now you go alone, charm all the people you train for, you mean well but aim low, and I'll make it known like I'm getting paid. What are your thoughts on this?
I feel like these lines kind of express maybe bitterness and resentment from the speaker towards the person that they're addressing. And the speaker, or rather Gracie Abrams, kind of feels hurt by the end of this relationship and seems to be criticizing the other person's character.
Now, train for, in the line, charm all the people you train for, you mean well but aim low, could be interpreted in a multitude of ways. So, firstly, what I think is that it could imply the person being addressed as manipulative and puts on this person puts on a charming facade to win other people over. What do you think is the second understanding?
Right. So I feel like it might also suggest that the person tries to act in a way that they think others will approve of, even though it might not be, genuine.
Yeah.
So mean well but aim low may suggest that their intentions may be good, but their approach is kind of superficial.
This is giving me very Robin Hood vibes. And the third line, and I'll make it known like I'm getting paid. So this line could be a jab at the other person. The speaker is implying that they'll expose the truth about this person, and they might even enjoy doing it. And I think that comes with being a celebrity or being a musician. And I think one of the best qualities or best characteristics and advantages you get of being a musician is that you can simply mention things and write through your songs. And I think that's very commonly done, like Billie Eilish, Taylor Swift, obviously, now Gracie Abrams. and Sabrina Carpenter. I think all of these people are putting their thoughts and emotions into their songs so
Yeah,
well. And I think
I
we can
agree.
bring that to like this understanding of this lyric. Anywho,
Yeah.
the comparison to getting paid suggests a sense of revenge or even satisfaction in revealing the person's flaws. Like we said, they might enjoy doing it.
Yeah. It sounds like a threat.
Yeah.
That's just the way life goes. I like to slam doors closed. Trust me, I know it's always about me. I love you, I'm sorry.
That's just the way life goes. I like to slam doors closed. Trust me. I know it's always about me. I love you. I'm sorry. So, in my opinion, the song has a sense of acceptance because that's just the way life goes. May suggest that Gracie is trying to accept things that don't always go how we planned for them to go.
Mhm.
What do you think?
I like to insert a lyric parallel here. This is
Uh-huh.
one of the many parallels that we'll see in the song. So
Yeah.
nothing happened in the way I wanted back in I Miss You, I'm Sorry.
Right.
You can see that she's progressed emotionally while writing the song. That's just the way life goes. Kind of shows that she's accepting this, like you've said before.
Yeah.
She's learning to accept that things don't always go the way we plan them to.
Right. I feel like she's owning up to her emotions at this point.
Uh-huh.
Sorry.
That's character development.
Yeah. Okay. I like to slam doors closed. So this juxtaposition obviously contradicts to the previous line. I
Mhm.
feel like it suggests that the singer has a tendency to cut ties abruptly, perhaps to avoid deeper emotional entanglement. And this
Mhm.
may be a sign of trauma.
2 summers from now, we'll laugh and talking, but not all that often. We're cool now. I'll be on a boat, you're on a plane, going somewhere sane, and I'll have a drink. Wistfully lean out my window and watch the sunset on the lake. I might not feel real, but it's okay.
Now we come to the second verse. 2 summers from now, we'll have been talking, but not all that often. We're cool now. I'll be on a boat. You're on a plane going somewhere. Same. So I think this verse references the relationship dynamic between former lovers in the aftermath of a breakup. So some
Uh-huh.
people would prefer to stay in touch, but they'll never be as close as they once were, obviously.
I
And
agree.
it feels
Yeah.
surreal to think about two people whose lives were once so closely entwined that they're now moving in two different directions. You can continue.
All right. And I'll have a drink, wistfully lean out my window, and watch the sunset on the lake. I might not feel real, but it's okay. So I feel like these lines refer to when you're disconnected from devices, and our first instinct is to kind of dig deep into unresolved thoughts and feelings and just kind of go through all the past experiences, all the little interactions that you've had that can sometimes lead to like a spiral of
Yeah.
emotions and you might want to escape, but you really can't.
You know, I've seen a trend going around like TikTok. Thought
Uh-huh.
Tour, they show a video of them in the airplane, and this is where thought daughters thrive. Because it's
Oh
basically
my god.
you're stranded in the air with no Wi-Fi, nothing. So obviously, apart from reading or sleeping, the only thing you can do is get lost in your thoughts, right? So I think
Yeah.
perfect example of just not feeling real, but it's okay.
Yeah.
And it kind of feels like all the memories start to like rush back, and
Yeah.
it doesn't seem like something from reality because it's a mix of emotions, thoughts, and memories that kind of take you out from the concrete sense of actual reality.
Yeah. Makes sense.
'Cause that's just the way life goes. I push my luck, it shows. Thankful you don't send someone to kill me. I love you, I'm sorry.
Now we come to the chorus. Because that's just the way life goes. I push my luck, it shows. Thankful you don't send someone to kill me. I love you, I'm sorry. So she's added new lyrics here. And the line, thankful you don't send someone to kill me, it's a sarcastic take, and the humor softens the blow of the apology, but it doesn't take away from the sincerity of I love you and I'm sorry. So here, Gracie recognizes her mistakes, and she seems grateful that the other person hasn't reacted more harshly, honestly. As you recall, she fought against the relationship continuing, right? So you would
Yeah.
expect the other person to react harshly, but she's kind of grateful they didn't. And the sarcasm and the satire kind of takes away the
True essence, I'd say.
yeah, exactly, the true essence of the I love you, I'm sorry, but still doesn't take away the sincerity that she says it with.
For sure, yeah.
It is what it is. I happen to kick the age-old crash. I tend to laugh whenever I'm sad. I stare at the crash. It actually works. Making amends never ends. I'm wrong again. Wrong again. Goes joyriding down our road. Lay on the horn to prove that it haunts me. I love you. I'm sorry.
Now we come to the verse.
Okay. You were the best, but you were the worst. As sick as it sounds, I loved you first. You thought you're slick. It is what it is, a habit to kick. The age-old curse. I tend to laugh whenever I'm sad. I stare at the crash. It actually works. Making amends, the clicks never end. I'm wrong again. Wrong again. Oh my god, I love that. I stare at the crash. It actually works. May suggest that Gracie reminisces. I know we're using this word a lot, but okay.
That's
At
kind
the
of
end
like
of the
the theme of
relationship.
both of these songs, right?
Yeah,
In this
I
song.
agree. I agree. So Gracie kind of reminisces about the end of the relationship, looking at how it ended so pathetically, kind of fighting against the relationship instead of for
Which
it.
she quite literally did. She fought against the relationship.
Yeah, yeah,
So the I stare at the crash, it actually works is another parallel with breaking
yeah.
dishes when you're disappointed. So as we
Oh
mentioned
yeah,
before, yeah, the dishes can be a metaphor for the heart. And it's something that
yeah.
can't be mended and joined back together again, despite all of the apologies, which are the band-aids.
Oh, that's yeah, the band-aids, yeah.
So actually the second part of this lyric, it actually works. So we've mentioned before that the initial song, I Miss You, I'm Sorry, kind of talks about this like repetitive cycle of yearning and reminiscence and wanting to get back together with this person.
Yeah.
However, the second part of this line, it actually works, might even suggest that when she's looking back at the memories and the pain she felt while detaching from this person or experience, the pain kind of convinces her that she shouldn't get back together with this person because she knows that's going to end. Like, even
Yeah.
in I Miss You,
It's
I'm Sorry, she mentions give it the summer. So that's where we kind of said that they both thought that it's going to end again because it's a repetitive
yeah.
cycle. So she's looking back at these memories and she's realizing how much remorse and pain and period of mourning she went through. And I think this convinces her that she shouldn't get back together with this person once again. Continuing, the repetition of I'm wrong again could connote that the relationship ended not just because of the other 50% in this relationship, but even how Gracie quite literally fought against the relationship lasting, like she mentioned
Yeah.
in the song. Now we're at the outro. Again, my favorite part.
The way life goes, joyriding down our road. Lay on the horn to prove that it haunts me. I love you. I'm sorry. The way life goes, I want to speak in code. Hope that I won't make it about me. I love you. I'm sorry. The way life goes. Joyriding down our road. Lay on the horn to prove that it haunts me. I love you. I'm sorry. The way life goes, I want to speak in code. Hope that I won't make it about me. I love you. I'm sorry. Do
So
you have
in
any
this
thoughts?
outro, yeah, in this outro, thank you for asking, by the way. We see another parallel. So
Yeah.
remember how in I Miss You, I'm Sorry, the structure of the final chorus, the lyrics repeating, the same
Uh-huh.
thing is in this outro. So right after Lay on the Horn to prove that it haunts me, she goes with the lyric from the chorus, I'm wrong again, wrong again. And this keeps repeating in this entire outro. So it very closely mirrors the structure of I Miss You, I'm Sorry's outro. And um both of them feature new lyrics from the bridge and the chorus repeating in the background. So
Yeah.
this kind of um further implies the connection between them and even the titles that we see. Joyriding down our road, lay on the horn to prove that it haunts me. What I think she means by this, by proving that it haunts her, is that she hits the horn when she's in pain about the lost love. That
Yeah.
it's kind of the only proof that she still cares because she's not allowed to really scream or fight for that person anymore because she's lost it. She's lost that person or she's moved
Yeah.
on, sort of, from that experience.
Can we just address our road? I feel like here Gracie kind of hints at their relationship or their take on this situation as a whole. So, as two people together, how they move past this problem, move past this event, right? And the approach that they take to kind of resolve it. So, our road is like a collective, you know, thing to represent their relationship. I want to speak in code. I feel like this could mean that Abrams wants to kind of hint to her past and the fact that she has unresolved opinions and feelings about it, but not outright to say it.
Mm-hmm.
So she kind of hopes that she won't, as it may refuel old feelings of hurt and sadness for herself,
Yeah,
not knowing whether this would be good for her or not, and therefore prioritizing her feelings. Does that make sense?
that's completely valid and it makes complete sense to me because I
Uh huh.
think in certain situations and even in the song, okay, I just had two different thoughts at the same time, but I'm gonna focus on
Yeah.
one by one. So the
Okay.
first one pertaining to the song is that in this line, I want to speak in code, and you just mentioned that she could be prioritizing her feelings. I think
Yeah.
this contributes to the line we analyzed before is I stare at the crash, it actually works, where she is reminding herself of how much pain she went through while trying to like
Yeah.
sail away from this past experience or whatever hurt her. And
That's a good
similarly,
point.
yeah, and
Yeah.
similarly, here she's prioritizing her feelings so that once again she doesn't refuel those emotions of sadness and
Yeah.
mourning for herself. So I think these two like exactly contribute to each other. And secondly,
Yeah.
um, I forgot what my second point was.
Oh, I hate when that happens.
Okay, so what do you think about the song overall?
I feel like Gracie Abrams' song I Love You, I'm Sorry kind of delves into the complexities of a past relationship marked by love, regret, and perhaps the passage of time. Again, the reference to summertime and the passage of time, right?
Yeah, and even 2 August ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I feel like the lyrics paint a vivid image of a relationship that has seen both its highs and lows, with the narrator reflecting on moments of honesty that were not well received and the subsequent emotional fallout.
Yeah, makes sense. So, in my opinion, the song also explores the idea of time itself as a healer, even if it's imperfect. The narrator, Gracie here, envisions a future where they're still in touch but not as close as they were before. with each of them leading their lives. The mention of being on a boat while the other is on a plane could also suggest a physical and emotional distance that's now become normal between the pair. Or
Wait, sorry. Can I add something?
Yeah.
I feel like this can also signify being grounded to earth and kind of
Ooh,
flying up in the air or being very static and,
okay.
power and control maybe in this
Yeah.
aspect.
Yeah, that makes so much sense. Continuing, there's also a sense of wistfulness, which Gracie herself mentioned, and acceptance in watching the sunset on the lake, which could also be a metaphor for the end of a chapter in their lives. You know, how
Right.
in the song she kind of talks about how she's finally realizing that the amount of pain she went through in all of the time that they got back together and then broke up again, she's realizing
Yeah.
that it's not worth all of the pain. It's not worth
Yeah.
going back to that person for the 100th time. And
Yeah.
I think the sunset on the lake perfectly encapsulates that metaphor for the end of a chapter, that they're
For
now
sure. Yeah.
going back into that and running back in the hamster wheel all over again.
Yeah.
Continuing, thankful you don't send someone to kill me, like we mentioned before, adds a darkly humorous touch, highlighting the intensity of their past
Yeah.
conflicts. And Abrams' lyrics are so raw in both of these songs, but I'd like to make a special mention to basically her entire discography. Her lyrics
Yeah.
are so well thought out, and she is self-aware, and
I
she
agree.
makes them
I agree.
relatable to the audience by admitting
Mm-hmm.
their personal flaws and the basic nature of revisiting those memories and wanting to make amends.
Also, I feel like this is what makes her as an artist so special. Like she can help new audiences relate to her. So personally,
Yeah.
I don't really listen to her, right? But I feel like it's such a universal experience, even though I might not relate to it in the way that she does. In some parts, I do feel kind of, seen, and her
Mhm.
vulnerability, it helps me
Do you think like they help you accept your emotions?
for sure. Yeah. Yeah. Like process these emotions.
Yeah. I think being able to make your audience relate with you, like you as a great example, someone who doesn't very often
Yeah.
listen to her, but listening to these
Yeah.
two songs and analyzing them, you're able to
Yeah.
understand your emotions, even if it's not throughout the entire song, but even certain places in the song. I
I
think
can relate. Yeah.
what defines an artist as a good artist. Because
For sure. Yeah.
if you're able to connect with your audience,
Yeah.
no matter what experience they've been through, even if it's not the same experience as you, they
Yeah.
should still be able to connect with your feelings, right?
In some way.
In
Right.
one way or another, exactly.
Yeah.
So the song's kind of like it reflects a deep-seated struggle with guilt and the desire for reconciliation. And the chorus serves as a remorseful refrain that encapsulates the duality of the relationship, like we've mentioned countless times, which is
Yeah.
all intertwined with the sense of regret. And like we mentioned, grief coexisting with happiness.
Yeah.
What do you think about the final verses?
Right. So I feel like the final verses kind of bring a sense of closure with the
Mhm.
narrator accepting their role, or rather, Gracie accepting her role in the relationship's demise and expressing a hope to kind of move forward without making it all about herself.
However, while she's trying not to make it all about herself, she's also putting herself first, which
Yeah.
so it's prioritizing herself in a beneficial way,
Yeah.
but not as if she's taking advantage, but kind of that she's saving herself from
Yeah.
yet another cycle of going through all of that again.
I love you, I'm sorry. 2 summers from now, well, I've been talking, but not all that often. We're cool now. I'll be on a boat, you're on a plane.
And just like that, this episode has come to an end.
This duo is done analyzing 2 songs in our second episode. Get it? So, without further ado, we declare our second episode of Well, Lyrically Speaking as complete.
Until next time, over analytical folks.
I love you, I'm sorry. You were the best, but you were the worst. As sick as it sounds, I loved you first. It is what it is. I happen to get the age-old curse. I tend to laugh whenever I'm sad. I stare at the crash. It actually